Well, hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Husker Gutter call-in show. As you can see, kind of worked on a couple things. I got a fly flying around my head for some reason. Worked on a couple things. We got a new intro and all that stuff, so hope y'all like that. We'll keep the work in progress. I spent about 10 minutes on that little countdown timer, so I'm going to make it better, lock it in, but all right, let's go ahead and, Brian, how you doing today, first off, before I get in the comments, because we had Ron T getting in here very early. So, but how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well, man. Happy to be here. If y'all can hear my audio fine, I switched audio interfaces, so let me know if mine and Brian's mics are kind of very similar in terms of volume. So one of us isn't screaming on here. So what's going on, Ron T? Appreciate you. What's that?
I said, if I need to adjust mine, just let me know.
Oh, you're good. Let me go drop the link in here. As y'all know, you can call in. Well, this is a call-in show, so you have no choice but to call in. So go ahead and click that link if you want to jump in here and call in. We can talk about anything. This nice, that's right. Husk My Cobb is fully husked with the intro. Pit Snipe, what's going on, man? Appreciate it. Look at Pit Snipe getting in here early, not at the end of the show. It's great. We got some production values up in the easy. You already know, man. You already know how it goes. What's going on, Bone Leg Cornfed? I appreciate you hopping in here. Was watching 1982 Nebraska, Missouri. Always a good time to go back and watch it. I usually do that about a month and a half out from the season. I start going down this wormhole of watching all the old games, even losses. I'm pretty weird about that too.
I can't watch losses.
Still do the close ones and stuff like that, but I don't know why. You sound good so far. Appreciate that. Going to have to rewind for the intro. Don't worry. We'll play it again. Here, let's run it back.
We'll play it here a little bit.
Let's just run it back.
Sure, why not?
Locked and loaded, baby. We are back. Hey, welcome into the Husker. No, I'm just playing. All right. Links in the chat. Like I said, if y'all want to call in, go ahead. But I want to talk about a little bit of a recruiting update that we got on Twitter, like probably about 20 minutes before the show. Hayden Ainsworth is going to be announcing his commitment on Monday, shut down his recruitment completely. So, Brian, do you want to go ahead and give some insight on Mr. Hayden Ainsworth?
Got your tackle. He's in. Put in my prediction last weekend. He promptly canceled that official visit to Florida State that he was supposed to have on Monday, Tuesday, and then promptly canceled his official visit. I believe it was to Ole Miss this weekend, or maybe that was the next weekend. So yeah, I mean, all the clues are there that he is going to return home back to Nebraska. You've got your right tackle for the foreseeable future. I really like Hayden.
Oh yeah, and also I don't know if you noticed that somebody else Cameron Wilson got a crystal ball as well. So saw that a little bit ago.
Yep, and then I think that they'll soon follow for Ryan Murray or Moret. Once he gets his official visuals.
Yep. So all right, let's go ahead and we're going to try to get a call in early. Let's see. Throw them bones at the like button. Appreciate you. Eating dinner, then I'll call in. Appreciate you, Mike. Mike, Pit Snipe, why don't you go ahead and call in? Let's go. I want to get these calls rocking and rolling. Do you have any more updates on recruiting in the meantime since Tuesday that you can give to the people?
Yes. Let me bust out my notes real quick on my phone. Okay. So originally June 13th weekend was going to be a huge recruiting weekend for Nebraska. You had 4-star Jaden Warren coming in. You had 4-star Deacon Schmidt coming in. You had 3 or 4-star, depending on service, Ja'Cory Smith coming in. You had 4-star Titan Davis coming in. You had 4-star Nasir Rankin coming in. None of them are considering Nebraska anymore. So none of them are coming in. This weekend is kind of a flop, if we're being honest here. If I'm not trying to be too harsh. I mean, you got 4-star athlete Jacob Eberhardt coming in. I posted that last night or the day before that he was coming in. I believe that was confirmed this afternoon. You got a big visit weekend with Darian Jones. And then Calvin Thomas is a nice little surprise. He did announce a couple weeks ago he's visiting for Nebraska. I still don't like our chances, but I do think that him deciding to come is huge for Nebraska, because I really thought we were out of it until very recently. So that's the good news. Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. Not a whole lot. You'll have to wait till tomorrow. I'm doing a video tomorrow.
Yeah, not a ton on that. And then I don't know if you saw either, but I saw this a little bit ago, and it was alluding to the new Feel Steel magazine. And I saw a little clip earlier. I think it was from Herd at Sports, and they were talking about how the Nebraska linebackers are one of the highest ranked in Feel Steel's preseason ranking, but not getting as much love in terms of running back room and stuff like that. Did you kind of see that at all?
I have not. I honestly have been kind of down and out most of the day. I had a huge headache, so I haven't
So I'm
been
curious.
on social media.
I'm curious about your opinion, kind of on the linebackers this year, because I feel like it's interesting. I mean, they have the defensive line, middle of the pack, which makes sense. Running back room, maybe it's because of the lack of experience, like we talked about before. Where do you feel like the linebackers stacked up?
I think they're going to be very good.
Ranked. Yeah, they're one of the highest ranked in the magazine.
Yeah. You got Wilson McGahee back, who's probably going to be he's not going to be a starter, but he'll probably be a black shirt. He'll play starter level reps because Deshaun McCullough will be starting, who we think is going to be a terrific fit in this scheme as a jack. You have Vincent Shavers back, who probably, again, doesn't start, but he gets a black shirt because you have Javen Wright back, who's a seventh-year guy who's very, very talented and was playing the best football of his career once he got healthy last season. And then at middle linebacker, you got Marquise Watson-Trent. The question is who's his backup? I don't know. But between that group that we just talked about, they're some of the best in the Big Ten in terms of schematic fit, athleticism. I'm not shocked that they're highly regarded. There's a lot of talent, a lot of skill, a lot of speed with that group.
Yeah. And, I kind of a little bit. Oh, my God. I'm echoing already. Okay. It went away. It went away. You're good. So,
I was about to
in your opinion, I'm just curious your take. What do you feel like is a legitimate good ranking? And if anybody wants to call in and give me your thoughts on this, what do you think is kind of a good rank structure? If you've had time to think about it, about our position groups, have you had time to kind of sit down and kind of rank them out where you think they should be?
In terms of the conference, or
just in terms of like on the team strength, top to bottom?
So defensively, I would put linebackers as your number one on defense. I'd put corner. Oh man, I'm back and forth. I'm actually going to change this. I'd put safety at 2, corner at 3, and then defensive end at 4, and defensive tackle your biggest concern. Just to be more specific.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to agree with that. Offensively, what do you think?
Offensively, your strength, number 1 is wide receiver. Number 2 is offensive line. Number 3 would be quarterback, then tight end, then running back.
And I'm going to go through here just kind of looking at the national rankings where Phil still has Nebraska across those categories. I saw this on X a little bit ago. I put in my notes. I can't remember who dropped it. I'll try to go back and credit that. But QB 21st, running back 60, wide receiver 33, O-line 33, D-line 61, linebacker 39, defensive back 35, special teams 75. And then projected order finish, 7th place in the Big Ten, says they're right on schedule with nearly all their starters back. Second most improved team making another bowl appearance.
7th in the Big Ten, you could still
that's the correct one. Actually, no, never mind. But the unit rankings are correct. So 21, 60, 33, 33. So 61 D-line, 39, 35 defensive backs, 75 special teams, which is, considerable improvement in special teams. And I want to compare that to this. I want you to take a look at, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but have you ever seen the, what is it called? I'm trying to remember here. Let me pull it up on X real quick. And I'm going to dive into some of y'all's comments after I take a peek at this. Let's see here. I don't know what I did with it, actually. I'm gonna oh, yeah, here it is. So it's Kelly Ford's rankings. Have you ever looked at Kelly Ford's rankings?
I have not.
Okay, so they're interesting to look at sometimes. So let me go ahead and pull Kelly Ford rankings up here. All right, so this looks like a lot, okay, but breaking this down in terms of kind of on the left side here, the 2025 projection, you see the ratings are kind of like a power ranking. And so you see kind of each and every year kind of where they were at. Let me remove our names here for a second. Okay. And so you see each year kind of where they were at. So 2023, 120 on offense, defense 6, special teams. That's kind of where they finished. Let's see, 39th. That's just his Kelly Ford ranking overall. 80 defense, 14 defense, 80 offense, 115 special teams. And then you see the 2025 projection right there as well. And you come over here and you kind of see this breakdown on the right-hand side of all of these games over here. Essentially what that is, it's kind of giving the percentage of the win total that they think, if it's going to be, the over 7.5 or 7.7 at the top, and then the conference wins, how many, 66% for 5, 88% for 4, 97% chance to get 3. And we got a caller in here, and it is Pitt Snipe. Mr. Pitt Snipe, what's going on, my man?
What's going on today, fellas? How we doing?
We're doing great, brother. How are you?
Hanging in there. Like I said, I was totally goofing off today, and then ended up doing some emergency electrical repairs, but nothing fun.
Nice.
You're still alive, so I guess you were successful in the electric repairs.
Oh yeah, electrons do what I damn well tell them to do.
Pitt Snipe, I'm not surprised by anything you say anymore. What's going on, man? What you want to talk about?
Not too. Man, I don't know. I was just.
Let me ask you.
I was just working through my issues with being able to call in. Well, what is the hot topic right now?
Let me ask you this question because I'm curious your take on the ranking breakdowns. How would you break down our positions, or what are your favorite positions, and what do you think are the positions that need the most help?
Just because we've been burnt before, I feel like we're going to get 2 weeks into the season and find out we have some desperate shortage of linemen on one side or the other, or wide receivers or running backs or whatever it is. But right now, I feel great about our roster. I feel like we've got adequate depth and talented depth everywhere. But like I said, yeah, there's always that other shoe I'm waiting to drop about week 2 or 3 that, oh, hell, we don't have any tackles left.
Yeah, the inevitable kind of realization that when bodies start to fall, that depth gets real thin. Even at the interior defensive line, you feel pretty good about that?
Well, it's a lot of question marks. I mean, we certainly have some talented young fellas there, but it's a lot of unproven guys. I mean, they've got some snaps. I mean, we've got some. I can't spit a name out right now, but we've got some experience there. I'm hoping at least 1 or 2 really break it open for us. Just become. We got to have someone on the interior to be our Robinson, our Sue, or whatever.
Yeah. So based on kind of how you're looking at the schedule, what's kind of your prediction or kind of prediction for the season, win-loss total, or where you think maybe a bold prediction you think for Nebraska?
15, 16-0, baby. We're going all the way. We ain't losing.
I love it.
I wouldn't expect anything less. I'm echoing Brian, so get out. Hold on 1 second. All right, Brian's gone now, so we can actually talk. No, I'm just playing. Could you hear my echo on your end, or are you good? Are you in Zimbabwe, by the way? Because you're on a delay.
Yeah, I'm in the sticks in Nebraska, bro.
I can relate to that. The sticks.
I made sure I got to make sure that I shut off my Wi-Fi so that I'm talking to y'all through, cellular. Otherwise, it's even worse of a delay.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
But no, realistically, I mean, of course, we got to come out of the gate and do something impressive against Cincinnati. I want to see a 2 to 3 score win against Cincinnati, or I'm going to get real nervous about the rest of the season. And of course, Michigan. I mean, it's just lining up for us. They got some distractions. They got to come to our house. Oh, if we could just have our poop in a group that night, we could really change things.
Agreed. And what do you think is? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, let me ask you. Let's say Nebraska is going into the fourth quarter tied against Cincinnati, then they blow the doors open. Does that change your thought process where they struggle for 3 quarters and then blew them out, or do you just want to see start to finish blowout?
That would be impressive as well, Brian. I mean, we're not exactly well known for pouring on the mustard in the fourth quarter. So even to see them struggle, I mean, it's the first game of the season. If I were to see them struggle, but then find a way to pull their heads out of their butts, hell yeah, we haven't seen that in a decade.
Yeah. What do you think?
I can take positive reinforcement from whatever it is, however it is we see. If they keep finding a way to win, that's all we need to see.
Yeah. What game are you going to be at? Any of the games, or do you go to all the games?
No, I don't go to any of the games. I'm much more comfortable with my TV set.
Honestly, it's kind of a lot of work to get up early, get out there, tailgate, get out to those games. So, do you have any CWS predictions?
I have none, not any. We're so shocked with Nebraska's loss last week that it's like, okay, yeah, I stopped paying attention altogether.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, me too. Well, kind of. I'll probably pay attention when it gets a little bit, at the College World Series. But yeah, outside of that, it's kind of depressing once Nebraska loses, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to a single super regional.
Nope. Hey, Pit Snipe, do you have any pro teams you like?
I kind of don't watch a lot of the NFL. Regionally, of course, we're in the Kansas City Chiefs region, and they're fun to watch. Had some buddies that were Buffalo people, and so I've always kind of keep an eye on the Bills. I get to be a fan of whichever pro team I want from year to year.
Okay, bandwagon jumper.
Pretty much. I just never jump on who's winning, though. I mean, I was never a freaking Patriots fan.
That's good.
Well, yeah.
Brady hater.
Wants to be a fan.
Never.
Hey, let me ask y'all for some clarification. Me and Bone were kind of chopping this up over in the chat that the 105-man roster restriction, did that come back into play for this coming season, or is that getting kicked down the road?
No, they're going to phase that in over the course of time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I feel like they start to make these changes and then realize that it's a bit much bigger evolution than they think it's going to be able to cut these guys down. And then honestly, at the end of the day, you got a lot of these guys that we dropped them. RIP.
Oh, well.
RIP Pit Snipe. All right, let me drive into some of your comments here. 1 second. Apparently, Eberhard is heavily favored to come to Nebraska.
I don't know where you're hearing that. I would say Alabama or Mizzou. We can make up some room. We can make up a lot of ground. I would not bank on it.
Hopefully, Brandon's right. Love our running back room. Never going to eat Chinese, right? What? I think the linebackers are underrated. We have a lot of speed and athleticism there. I agree. Lost me there, Bone. The 105 roster limit is a thing this season again. Let's expect the linebackers to dominate, much like 95. That would
be awesome.
QB isn't 2 for you.
Was not for me.
Where'd you have him?
I had him 3, and I'll tell you why. Is if Dylan goes down, this is not a knock on Jalen Graham's dad as a player, but I just don't think he is going to be able to take you where you need to go.
Especially in the Power 5.
I mean, yeah, like could he win you a game or two? Sure. But like is he going to take you to I guess we play Iowa at home this year. So is he going to lead you to a win over Iowa? Probably not. Is he going to take you, to a win against Minnesota? Probably not.
We got two callers in here. We got Mike and Mr. Boneled Cornfed. Let's go ahead and pop them both up here, and let's see if we can not step on each other. We'll start with Mr. Mike. Mike, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing
well.
Fantastic. Bone-leg, corn-fed. Mr. Sir, how you doing today, brother?
I'm not doing bad.
All right. What do you want to talk about? Mike, we'll go ahead with you.
Just curious if any of you guys have watched the Emmett Johnson videos that he's watched. That kid looks like he has put on some muscle, lean muscle, and then this is hypothetically speaking, that kid may be ready for the Big Ten.
Yeah, we pulled that picture up
still
on Tuesday. I'm about to pull it up real quick for you.
The size of his arms, he reminds me of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he's gained a ton of and he gets that muscle maturity too over time. So let me go ahead and share this tab here. This is what he's talking about here with Mr. Emmett Johnson on the left-hand side. He is absolutely massive right now, looking like he's ready to be a workhorse back. And so, I mean, whenever they were, in the process, or whenever he was talking about, or hit the transfer portal, one of the things that got him back was they were guaranteeing him at least 50-50 share of the carries. So you got to really, and here's my guy, Jeffrey, the Greek here, throwing shade as an Iowa fan there, but you got to bulk him up. And that's exactly, the strength and conditioning program has been great. We talked about Raiola even looking kind of like more like he's filling into his frame with a bit more muscle, lean muscle and stuff like that. So these guys are looking way more built for the season, which has hope, in my opinion, that the rest of the team's strength and conditioning is locked in as well, which will lead to less injuries, so on and so forth. So,
I agree.
He still is like 200 pounds though. So I'm curious when they update his weight, how big he actually is.
He might still be around that 205 range, honestly. Sometimes the weight fluctuation doesn't change a crazy amount, but that muscle density, muscle maturity makes a big difference. But he might be up 205, 210, not too big to where he's going to be slowed down at all. Probably just a lot more explosive.
Yeah.
Mr. Boneled, how you doing today, brother?
Not bad. I think what you guys were talking about just a second ago, it's called body mass index. Like a certain percent of your body is body muscle or body fat or something, but it's BMI, body mass index.
BMI is a joke. No offense, but BMI doesn't take body composition into account. So BMI actually says I'm obese. Because it's just a height weight ratio. So it's more so kind of if they put them, into a bod pod or dip them or something like that, where they can see kind of the ratio to skeletal muscle mass versus lean body mass, skeletal muscle mass, in combination with the body fat percentage. So BMI is a number that's used. I mean, it works kind of in general ideas, a general population, but it's very flawed in terms of that, because if you have a lot of muscle, it tends to say you're overweight. It'd probably say Emmett's overweight right now. And
no way.
So it is a number, that calculates stuff like that, but it's skewed in that regard. So, but it's one of those things where it's like that lean, dense muscle, and then him probably leaning out on top of it. And muscle maturity makes the muscles look a lot bigger. You get a lot stronger. You look at a guy like David Huffkin, like is whatever he is. What is he? 270, 250?
270, 275.
Like his 275 compared to like, an 18, 19-year-old's 275 is going to look completely different. And that's that muscle maturity and that density. And that is overall going to help, them hold up better and be a lot stronger as well. So
his quads are like busting through his shorts there. It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
I will say this, before I give you a prediction on how well we're going to do this year, when are our buys and who do we play after the buys?
Just a second, I'll pull it up right here.
Yeah, pull that up for me real quick. I know Michigan, we got to buy after Michigan.
I think our buys are pretty good this year.
I mean, after Michigan.
Okay. And is it before the other one before Penn State?
So
yes.
After Michigan, and then we play Michigan State after the bye.
And then we have one after UCLA, and that's going into the Penn State game.
Okay. All right.
Correct.
Then I will predict us to have a 10-2 season. Based upon that.
What do you have as our losses, Bone?
Well,
I think Penn State would be one of them, right?
No, actually, no, I don't think so, because we'll have that extra week to prepare for Penn State. I think, that Michigan is better than what people think, but we're going to lose a close one to them. And this is the one that I hate to see.
Did we lose him? Oh, we lost him.
We lost him.
Mike. Let's go ahead and switch that question to you. What do you think prediction wise?
Prediction wise, man, I'd like to come on here and say, 11-1, 10-2.
Say it.
But just the way we've played, based off the last 10 years, I don't know that I can. Until I see that we've improved special teams, and that we can have a competent offense, that we don't rotate a running back every 15 seconds.
Totally understand that, which I think is probably the plan this year for sure.
But 15 seconds would be like every 3 plays. Last year was like every other play.
There was no rhyme or reason behind it. I think we'll at least have a more structured rotation this year for sure.
But I am gonna say, I think we win a game that we should not, whether it be Michigan, Penn State, whoever. But I also think we drop a game we should not.
Minnesota.
Yes,
that's my game.
Minnesota always plays us like Colorado. I don't care how good we are. I don't care how good they are, how bad either of us are. They always play us tough. And it's at home, and it's a night game for them.
And yes, that's a short week after traveling back from Maryland, too, which some people won't think it's a big deal. I think it is, to go halfway across the country on a short week, then travel, 3-hour flight, 2-hour flight to Minneapolis. It's a short week, a lot of travel.
But I am going to say one other thing. I'm going to predict that we beat Iowa the same way they beat us the last couple of years, with a last-second field goal. And I hope the fan base just lets Iowa have it the way they've done it to us.
Oh, you already know. It's gonna be
that's the only one I disagree with you on is Iowa, because what's going to happen is, we have the Big Ten refs, and we know what happens when we have the Big Ten refs. They will set up somehow for Iowa to get that last field goal somehow, like they always do, to beat us. Every one of these losses we've had recently are because of some penalty. Okay,
or the clock mismanagement in 2023, was it? Where they gave them the extra time on the clock instead of running
seconds, I think it was 8 seconds or something,
and that allowed them to get in scoring position, win.
Yeah. So see, that's we'll outplay them like we always do, but I was so basically what I was saying earlier is we lose a close one to Michigan, and then we lose a close one to Iowa because of penalties.
What?
Yes.
100% see that. Are you good? Do we lose? Oh, my mic.
Yes.
No.
What anything else that you kind of bold predictions this season?
There's so many bowl games I can't name them all, but I'm gonna go
bold BOLD. Just anything bold, that you think that
bold. I think we finally have either 1,000-yard rusher or 1,000-yard receiver that we haven't had in God knows how long.
I still think we could see 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah, like I say, it's been years since we've had one, and I think this is the year we finally get one.
But it's hard to do that just in the modern. But at least I think Emmett can get 1,500 all-purpose.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think that's pretty realistic.
I guess I don't remember a lot of Dana Holgerson's offenses, but I think you're going to see at a very pivotal time in at least one game this year. I think you're going to see him reach into his bag of tricks, and we're going to see something we have not seen. And
oh yeah,
you want an incredibly odd, bold prediction? Is I think Isaiah Mosey might be like your third leading rusher.
That's crazy.
Behind Ives and behind EJ.
Interesting.
I can see that though, because I know they're using
freshman running back. There's a good freshman running back.
Jamarian Parker.
Yeah, he might do pretty good.
And Mekhi Nelson too. Happy birthday to Mekhi, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mekhi. Whoever you are. But yeah.
So Mekhi's dad tunes into the show a lot. So he's been putting me on to Mekhi. So watching a lot of his stuff. He sent me over a video of his quarterback film too, which was pretty cool.
So did you guys get any more like film on like any of the foreign players? Like this 2 Swedish guys or that one. I think he was from Germany or something.
Are you talking about David?
Did you guys get any like highlight reels on them, or is that stuff not even out because they're from overseas?
It's hard to find any film on that stuff. You can find little clips of stuff like of them at camps and stuff like that, but in terms of finding film, it's hard to find that. I don't know if they really have but I think as kind of that side of the world kind of grows in terms of building football over there, and then those guys kind of entering into maybe a pool of recruiting rankings, they'll start kind of putting that film out there. I'm pretty sure at a certain point you could find some film because they've probably had to share some with coaches or some people that are more on social media probably have some, but Huffkin I don't even know if he's on Twitter.
Part of it too is like the quality of competition they're going against over there is just not great. So the film you do get, you have to really look at traits more so than anything else. Like if you're looking at a defense, you're looking for that first step, you're looking for placement, etc.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is how can the coaches then judge how good of a talent they are, if there's nothing out there on them? How do they judge how good their talent is? I mean, Matt Rule is I don't want to say an expert at talent, but he knows his stuff as far as talent. But if there's nothing out there, then how did he find out about these players and how good they were or supposedly supposed to be without any information?
I'll show you real quick. So and I broke these down before, but here are some clips from camp. So this is kind of what they have to go by. So actually originally, I think he was supposed to be offensive tackle, but then Nebraska ended up, I think, being the first team to offer him as a defensive end because of just kind of his physical attributes and a little bit more raw. And as an offensive lineman, you kind of have to have certain traits about you and kind of already be able to, there's a lot more to learn to me on the offensive tackle side of the ball, whereas defensive end, they can kind of throw you out there in situations more often and be able to just kind of let you run loose at the quarterback and stuff like that. So, but kind of little stuff like this where watching his camp coming off the ball, kind of his strength, how he kind of gets off. But you see right now, like it's just kind of very raw in his fundamentals. So, he's got a quick first explosive step, but he's really got to work on kind of the pass rush moves. So you see right here, that lineman's able to get on the outside shoulder. He's able to get on the inside. So right there, he would normally want to swim through and kind of swipe that arm off. Instead, he just tries to kind of muscle his way through and push him off him. But little stuff like that, like those little details. But you just see kind of, this is one of the good reps that I remember just kind of, or one of these coming off this left side. It's a good rep. Here's him at the offensive tackle position. So you see, he just doesn't have a lot of bulk to him. Has the long arms and stuff like that, but just not a ton of bulk to him outside. I'm just talking about like just, big offensive lineman type of build. So they tend to like what they saw better just from him being able to get in there. And honestly, coming out of high school, a lot of these guys and a lot of guys that are recruited for the defensive end position are very raw with their pass rush skills anyway. So that's something that they're used to kind of developing at the college level. So I think that's kind of what they saw in him. They knew they could kind of, just with his frame, his length, his explosiveness, his strength, I think they thought he had a better shot at playing early and playing more often at a defensive end spot where he can rotate in kind of package-wise.
Yeah, he'll give you a little size inside too if you need to. If you ever get short on depth or whatever, he's 275 at least. I know there's some people that were saying like 290 to 295. He's big, so worst case scenario, you get him in on a third and short, second and short, fourth and short situation, just to give you some beef in the middle.
Yep, and just so in case you're wondering, this is kind of tweet I had of him in December. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about, muscle maturity. That's it was 260 there. So that's a big 260. And so yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about, the muscle maturity. He's going to be a lot stronger than a lot of these other guys just based on that. So but I'm really curious to see how he's looking coming off, because we see a lot of these guys putting size on him. But we probably won't know too much because he's going to be on kind of that side, where they're breaking into two different parts, where they have the kind of like the NFL style, where they have the guys over here that are ready to play that they're working with kind of in implementation, stuff like that. And they have the developmental guys broken into this section where they're trying to work on kind of building up those skill sets. So we'll probably see a little bit less of those developmental guys and probably see more clips of kind of the players that we're going to see on the field this year. But one might get a little taste of both, especially once they start doing the press conferences in the preseason. I'm sure people will be asking.
You're going to see a lot of him in Houston Christian game, that Akron game. You should see a lot of David in those games, second half.
Gentlemen, I'm going to back up here for just a second. You guys asked me about this. You guys asked me about my bold predictions for the year.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm also going to take it a step. I'm also going to take it a step further. Holgorsen and company have been kind of preaching that they want to establish their running game, that they want to run the ball. I think they're going to step outside their comfort zone, and I think within the first 5 plays of the Cincinnati game, you're going to see a deep shot downfield.
Yeah,
I would probably. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Didn't we do that in the USC game? Didn't we come out with an early shot there too? I know we came out.
I think so.
Yeah, because we come out and then we kind of went back out and kind of started establishing those short underneath throws, started getting the ball moving. But I think we came out and took a shot on them early too. So I think that's probably likely, and that's going to kind of back them off a little bit, get them at least looking that direction at the deep ball. And then I think if he does that and it's not complete, it works both ways, because then it sets up, I want to back those safeties off a little bit and get that short game going, work in the middle of the field, because that's where Holgorsen really targeted a lot last year, is that, intermediate middle of the field. And that's where Satterfield had no success and really no routes going. And that was the big difference between Holgorsen and him, is just getting that short intermediate passing game going.
And one more question for you, and then I'm going to get off and I'll listen to what you guys have to say. Actually, 2 of them. Who has the advantage in that game? Our offensive line versus their defensive line, and then vice versa. Does their offensive line have the advantage over our defensive line? And I'm going to hang up and listen to what you guys have to say, because I got to go see what my kid needs.
Appreciate you, Mike.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Go ahead.
Talking about the Cincinnati game, right?
For sure, yeah.
Well, I think we have the advantage on both sides of the ball. I firmly expect this game to be 2+ score at minimum, whether that takes us 3 quarters to get rolling or 2. It doesn't matter. I think Nebraska should dominate both sides of the ball.
Agree. What do you think, Boneled?
I agree with that, but I think the score is going to be something like 35-10. That's what I think the score is going to be, because nobody knows what we have. Okay. Nobody knows that. Okay. Granted, they know a little bit, they know we have Dylan Raiola and some good receivers and maybe a couple of running backs, but they don't know how good they are, if you follow what I'm saying there.
Yep.
And my biggest thing, and I've said this before, is, but I'm going to say it in a different way. And that is, the rugby punting is going to force those teams then, like Cincinnati or whoever it is, to have to go the whole length of the field against our defense. So that would give the defense time, for any mistakes they make, unless of course it's a big play, but for any mistakes that they make, to potentially hold them to 3 points or stop them. But how many teams are going to be able to go up and down the field, every time when you pump the ball? Other than probably maybe Ohio State, but even then, I don't think they could every time. But
Yeah, and go ahead, Brian. We're about to say something.
Yeah, Ryan.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So you said how many teams do you think could march down the field with a punter who puts them back?
Yeah. Like let's say if our punter constantly, since we have a rugby punter, okay, let's say that we always bury him like inside the 10 or 15-yard line. How many teams on every possession that they have are able to go the whole length of the field, all game long?
On our schedule or just in conference?
In conference, Ohio State's got the best shot. Nobody's going to be able to do it, but they're every time. But they're going to do it the highest percentage. On our schedule, though, there's not a lot of crazy offenses on our schedule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So see, that's why, my 10-2 prediction, possibly Michigan may be able to do it, but even, I'm kind of leaning that they won't be able to do it, and only reason Iowa is able to do it is because of, penalties. Okay. So it's not, they're going to be able to beat us because of penalties, and that's why, because of a penalty sets them up for a field goal with like 5 seconds left or whatever, and they make it beat us,
Yeah.
And
I think the one thing about Michigan is they're going to have a true freshman quarterback most likely starting. And so that's pinning him deep, especially in Memorial, is going to be very, very interesting because we're going to be bringing some heat on him. So if we can pin them deep, I think we're more likely to force some turnovers than they are to go down the field and score.
Correct. Now, I will also say this, now, if we have the same electric that we had in the Colorado game against Michigan and against the Iowa suck eyes, or whatever you want to call them, we'll probably win both those games. Okay. But it just comes down to, the team feeding off of that, and, because that for some reason gives us that extra, seems like the extra 7 to 10 points, and I don't know why that is, and those 7 to 10 points are going to swing a game in your favor, so
that's not what he said.
What's that?
That's not what he said. I knew so. I knew so. I knew so. I was going to say that. No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I call them what I call them because, I call them what I call them. But
no, I know.
But yeah, well, all I got to say is, how many national titles have they won? I could hold up a hand and show them 5. Every time they want to argue, I just go like this, and then they just look at me and shut up.
Show them the trophy case. But to your point, I feel like last season was kind of in see if y'all can attest to this. I feel like last season was kind of the season where I felt like Nebraska fed off the crowd the most in recent years. Like, again, we've had those hyped up games, the Oklahoma game, the Ohio State game when College Game Day came out there, like those, we've had those hype games, but it seems like we always get punched in the mouth early and get completely taken out of the game. The crowd and the team, I felt like that Colorado game, they embraced it. And I think it started with Dylan Raiola talking about how ready he was for the fans to be out there and how ready he was to kind of be in that atmosphere. And he got out there immediately, started hyping everything up. I think that leadership too, on top of just the team kind of just being a lot closer, I think this team is like going to really kind of feed off that crowd more so than we've seen in a lot of years. And I think that kind of we started to see that last year. Bone let go. There he is.
Well, yeah, well, I must be having problems with my cell phone connection, but that happens, modern day technology.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, no, I mean, So that's, that's the reason why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it is, how many of those teams on our schedule are going to consistently be able to go up and down the field, and get at least some points, either a field goal or a touchdown. It's going to be difficult. And I know Iowa's not going to be able to do it, but the thing is they win ugly, and the refs are going to help them win ugly again this year,
Yep.
and just watch. There'll be something that'll happen, that will set them up for a field goal, and then they'll get a field goal and beat us. But we'll have like maybe 100, 150 more yards or 200 more yards than them, and we still lose it. Okay, we'll be the better team, but the scoreboard is going to say otherwise.
That ends this year. That ends this year.
As long as we have a right tempo that doesn't let a DN go unblocked on the final drive of the game, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Two.
And the deep ball accuracy. If we hit one of those deep balls, we had so many open opportunities, and I think Dylan's that ball's going to be a little less jumpy out of his hand. He's going to be healthy, put on some bulk. So I think we're going to be hitting a lot more of those deep balls that we missed last year, and that's going to make a whole world of difference. In that Iowa game, we would have scored a lot more had we hit a couple. Like we had 2 or 3 wide open deep passes.
And look at Ohio State. We should have beaten Ohio State. The wonderful Big Ten refs. What is it? We had that first down, and they didn't allow us to get the first down. They didn't allow us to get the first down. And it forced us out of potential scoring.
Wasn't that also the game where Nair basically got held on the outside? That's interference on us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm echoing Brian. One second.
I think so.
That's why we had to kick a 53-yard field goal. I'm going to hop out real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, that penalty is why we had to kick a 53-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that's one of the things this year is going to be trying to get it to a point where like that doesn't even matter. And I think the focus this year, because you still think still echoing, bro. I hate this so much. Let me try to go out and back in. I think the biggest thing too is like they want to get that completely out of their minds and be in a position to where that's not even going to matter. And even in those games, like had we kind of hit on some of those plays, those wide open plays and stuff like that, that wouldn't even matter. And I think that, oops, they've gone again. Let me add you back. I'm echoing again. Let me try to back up. Come back in.
Okay. All righty. Once Justin gets back, we'll post a link for whoever wants to call in, and then we'll probably dive through. I know we got a couple super chats we have to get to, so we'll get to that as soon as we can. And then if anyone hasn't seen our new intro video and wants to see it, we can play that again as we're kind of winding down the show. We got about 10 minutes or so left. I can replay that as well. In fact, Justin just hopped back in. Actually, perfect time.
Still no done.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Feel like going. All right, I'm going to dive into somebody else. comment. I'm going to dive into somebody else's comments while we're doing this. Chris, I appreciate you hopping in here, man. Sorry, we're on the phone with everybody. $4.99. Thank you so much, brother. Really, really appreciate you, my man. As always, can't teach genetics exactly. If y'all want to call in, here is that StreamYard link one more time. I'm not sure why this echo is happening. StreamYard's been giving us issues all day. Earlier, it wouldn't even let us set up the stream. It was a site-wide outage. So, but let me dive into somebody else's comments here. Trying to catch up on these. Mayor Crazy's arms, but Johnson's just a shifty. There's an Armon Green size arms. Gramstead is contender for number 2. Fall camp will tell that tale. He's cut tackling him unless I'm in a trash truck. EJ said he's about to be a workhorse, that frame 100%. Let's see. Been an Emmett fan since we got him 100%. I think it was the first person to spotlight Emmett on a show I did with Chancellor Brewington before he even had a snap. And I kind of mentioned him because he was getting 50% of the first team reps in the 2023 offseason. A lot of people forgot about that. So I think we're good now.
Sweet.
I don't know what you did,
Yeah,
but it
try
worked.
clearing some stuff out.
Cool. BMI is waist, your frame and muscle mass are not calculated. Exactly. How hungry is everybody to maybe have a killer back again that can go for 12 to 1,500 yards? Not sure if holds all purpose. I think that we're more likely for that for sure. Yep. Let's see. Running back rotation has been absurd. Yeah, that was something I harped on all last season. It's not proven that Emmett has that kind of talent. Judy, what? I don't know about all that.
I'll play devil advocate and say we've never seen him go for a full season, but what we've seen has been pretty solid.
He hasn't had an opportunity though.
Mm-hmm.
So all we can go by is what we've seen on the field, and what we've seen so far, especially, and I mean, did have kind of an off game with Holgerson too, but again, having his full off season to implement the offense and get him ready for that, I think he was going to be fine. We got a 1999 man. Chris, you're awesome. Thank you so much, brother. As always, man, coming in here clutch. I appreciate you, brother. 1999, all cut up boys. Chris, if you want to call in, man, feel free to do so. I'm gonna drop the link in there. I know you mentioned you might want to call in as well, ask some questions. So let me go ahead and continue to dive into comments. But thank you. Can't thank you enough. If y'all do want to contribute to the show via super chats or whatever, we appreciate it. Even as so much as like, view, comment, call in, we appreciate it all. So thank you all so much, man. Let's see here.
Did you get to the other two that were in there from Chris?
No, I don't think so. When I clicked out, I kind of lost some of the comments here. So if you want to pop those up.
There's one.
Boy, it's your favorite bandwagon Nebraska fan. Hey, if I can plan it, I might roll out to the Penn State game with Chris out there. So, but yeah, I think we got him on the bandwagon. Yeah, I saw that one as well. Thank you, brother. Yeah. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, if we go out there and do a post game from the Penn State game, that'd be fun. So let's see. Get into a couple more here. That Friday night game in Minnesota is going to be scary. It's just that the unknown about Minnesota right now is the quarterback position for them. Yeah. I feel like they could be really good at that spot. They could be really bad about that spot. That unknown is really making that a 50-50 in my mind, for sure.
And Minnesota at night is tough, just in general. That crowd is it's not huge, but it's a raucous crowd. I was there for a career opener at Nebraska, and I was like kind of envious at some points because they do a lot of cool things with the crowd work that we don't do at Nebraska. And I was like, I wish we did stuff like that. Yep.
I think they take for granted that we're loud just regardless. So they need to do more of that interaction stuff, though, to keep it going throughout the game. Let's see. I'm going to skull drag Iowa. That's the confidence.
Hell yeah, we are.
100%. I hope that Iowa game doesn't come down to that. Yeah, I don't think they'll let it. Minnesota's been consistently scary to Nebraska. We need to end that without a doubt. That's when we know we're kind of over the hump, I feel like. I feel like Minnesota's kind of like that gatekeeper. Minnesota's that gatekeeper, I feel like. That travel's part of the scheme. If we're good enough, we'll find a way regardless of challenges. Can't agree more, Judy. Emmett does not fumble the ball. He'll be okay. He doesn't really have a history of fumbling issues, honestly. I had that fumble last year in the bowl game, but he got hit right on the ball. I mean, he got hit his back and then got hit right on the ball.
Blown up on that play.
Blasted in the back. Pause. Anyways, next. I think Michigan without their coach will struggle. If you watch the spring game, that QB is not good. I was not impressed. Yeah, we'll see. I'm
motivated too.
If he's a starter, but yeah, I think he's definitely gonna have some growing pains. Getting Michigan early is a big thing for us. Yep. If we both get 1,000-yard receiver, maybe 2 1,000-yard rusher. I don't think we're gonna get 2 because that ball's gonna be spread out a lot. But if we do, it like we talked about, it may not even be Dane Key, but might be an Isaiah Hunter type or something like that. But it's probably gonna be a Dane Key if we do, honestly. But we're going to be spreading the ball around a lot. So if we don't have one, it's not necessarily a bad thing because just the way Holgerson's offense works, he's going to have a ton of routes going out there at any given time. And it's just really finding the open space, getting the defenders to cover grass again, like I say all the time, and just being able to anticipate that window, that early window. But a lot of it's going to be set Dane Key up or to do what he does. And then Dane Key is also going to be the guy we target most, probably on first and third down, especially, and in the red zone. Michigan's coach taking this. Go ahead.
So you might have a situation where you get, 2 or 3 guys with 500-600 yards. And that's perfectly fine. That's really good, actually.
That's fantastic. Yeah. The more we spread the ball around, the better. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Key kind of takes over there. We got a new caller in here, the other Dave. What's going on, man? Appreciate you calling into the show.
Where is that? Is that your backyard?
Living the dream out there. Frozen. He's stunting on us, but he's frozen.
Frozen with sunshine.
We'll just leave it up for the viewers.
Yeah, I'm taking my Wi-Fi off. You guys cutting up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. That's better.
Yeah, so I just wanted to check in. This is the other Dave.
What's up, man?
Appreciate
where's the other Dave?
Your stream. I tried joining message boards as Husker Dave, and everybody gave me shit. So they said there's 1,000 Daves. Can't you come up with another name? I said, yep, that's the other Dave.
My uncle's name from Nebraska, Dave as well.
Yeah, I got a few questions, but one of them, a can't lose game. I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
Minnesota, UCLA, Iowa. Which one can we not afford to lose this year?
UCLA. I think UCLA, I would say. Probably. I don't know. Because I feel like UCLA going into that part of the season, I think Iowa's always a toss-up. So I think that's one that we always kind of wrap into maybe potentially losing. Minnesota's a 50-50, but I feel like a lot of us feel pretty good about the UCLA game. So, or I feel pretty good about the UCLA game. So I think UCLA for me.
I'm going to agree with that.
Yeah, that's good. All
because it's actually going to have more importance on the national scale because it's going to be Nico Amaliva versus Dylan Raiola. Even if we're, a game over 500 and they're below 500, it is 2 5-star quarterbacks, and it's going to be a nationally televised game. A lot of recruits are going to be watching. And God, those birds chirping in the background is so beautiful, Dave.
I hope they're not annoying because they get annoying at about 4:30 a.m. So
you're good.
But yeah, just the big picture scale of it, I think that UCLA game is more important. Just the national attention on it, and it's on the road, right?
Yeah, I mean those 3 games circled. If some miraculous reason we go undefeated in those, that wins in the season because undefeated in the non-con, win the games you're supposed to, then those toss-up games I mentioned really make the difference of a 8-win versus a 10-win season. So, so my follow-up question, you heard Matt Roll on the Jim Rome show 2 days ago reveal that Dylan was heavily courted in the transfer portal. How many games do we need to win to keep Dylan around and to keep the recruiting momentum around? Is 8 wins going to do it, or do we got to shoot higher?
I think 8's minimum, but I do think for for players to realize that this is really kind of turning around, I think that 9-10 win range is probably where we need to be at. 8, I put 8 as the minimum for us to feel like we're still making progress and not be in panic mode. But I feel like at 9-10, I feel like that's where the other recruits and the portal guys will start to take notice that we're right there knocking on that door, being able to make the college football playoff and stuff like that.
Yeah, 8 wins is like a step progress. 9-10 is going to be showing substantial progress, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just feel like 8 wins and Dylan's out the door. Based on that Jim Rome interview, it kind of spooked me.
Know.
So
he's pretty locked in here.
Yeah,
but I know Miami offered him like $4 million a year.
They offered him a lot.
Yeah, and Beck's gone after next year, right? So yeah,
I think having
spend money like water down there.
Yeah, I think having his uncle here is big to keeping Dylan. But I think even more important is now Dayton will be here next year.
Yes.
So now you've got your brother and your uncle here. And it's kind of more of a family affair at that point where it's like, man, my dad's name's on the stadium. My whole family's here now. Like, then you just be leaving your family again. So
here's another thing too. I think us from the outside are looking at it as like we see it as we need X amount of wins to feel this way about the team. But again, Raiola's in the locker room, so I think he more so knows, like, if we get 8 wins, he still knows that where the program's headed by the feel behind the scenes in the locker room. I still think like that sense of where they're going is still something that they see more than us. And I think he just feels so good now about where Nebraska's at, especially after this offseason. I think the biggest thing was getting him some serious weapons, getting him a good offensive coordinator. And I think now he feels like he's in a much better position to grow as a quarterback. And I think just them behind the scenes, it's almost like this confidence of like they know this is going to get turned around. I think that's kind of what's going to keep him around as well. And Miami, to me, feels like less of a family vibe and more of like we're throwing money at athletes and we're just trying to get talent. That's the way I see it with them.
Yeah. I can't remember what show.
Yeah, I hope they fall on their face this season and we get Cantwell as a transfer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't remember what shows.
That's all I got for you guys. Yeah.
All right, appreciate you, Dave. Thank you so much, my man.
Yep, just wanted to show you guys who I am. See you on the message boards.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
The delay there drives me nuts at times.
Yeah, I know.
But I was listening. I think it was probably Damon Benning, because I listened to him talk a lot and talking about like Nebraska can sell you on development. They can sell you on getting to the NFL. They have everything you need there to be successful. Whereas a lot of programs right now, like what Dave was saying, was Miami's just kind of chucking money. Like they're not developing talent. They're buying talent. And there is a big difference between developing it and then buying it. And I think players are going to start to see that at some point.
Well, even you look at, like I say it all the time, but you look at teams like, Alabama when Saban's there, Ohio State now, like those guys don't just throw money at guys, at stars. They also develop better than anybody in the country. And that's what sets them apart from teams like Miami. And that's why teams like Miami are probably not going to be able to win like that. That's why I never thought teams like Colorado would be able to win consistently, because at a certain point, we're getting to this stage where you hear a lot of these players talking about, Nebraska's plan for them in the future. And that's kind of what's keeping them, interested in Nebraska. A lot of these guys are really looking at like, how can you develop me for the next level? How well can I develop for the next level? And it seems like Miami's that program that kind of waits for them to almost be developed and then kind of tries to bring them in after that. So I don't think that's a recipe of good foundation for success, especially with a historical university like Miami, where I feel like they could be able to kind of build that foundation like Nebraska has based just on their name alone,
There's zero reason they shouldn't be able to, because they're in frickin' Miami, which is the absolute hub
destination
of
spot.
Recruiting talent. I mean, you've got that, like, it's a beautiful destination, beautiful city, all the nightlife, all that crap. But then all your talent is a stone's throw away. There is no reason they should have to go out and buy players, because they can't develop for shit.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
Exactly. And so I think that's where that nice middle ground comes in modern college football, where it's people just think it's like a game of how much money do you have, how much money you can throw at the players. The teams that are going to win are going to be the teams that still develop a lot of in-house talent and develop those 3 stars, because having 3 stars is going to be necessary still. Everybody's got them. Let's see. Let me catch up with some of these comments. Good calls so far. Appreciate it, everybody who's called in the show, man. Thank y'all so much. Let's see, where were you at? I think Michigan. Saw that one. I don't mind. Never mind. Please underestimate us, Michigan. Exactly. This one, Michigan's coach taking suspension for our game is a slap in the face of Nebraska. I think part of it is that stretch.
Oklahoma.
Huh?
He played for Oklahoma, so you either bench him for Oklahoma or you bench him for Nebraska.
Yeah, and I think it was. Yeah, kind of. I wouldn't take it personal. I don't think it's a personal thing. I don't think they're overlooking us. I think Michigan also thinks that it doesn't matter who's coaching. I think they think that. I mean, because we saw it whenever Sherrone Moore took over for Harbaugh, but that was a different team. I think that team was impenetrable in terms of like how mentally strong they were as a unit, like from not letting the outside noise get to them. That's what impressed me so much about that team. More so, like, I know they had the Stallions thing, but I think that team wins the Natty regardless, personally.
Yeah, that team just got better when Harbaugh was out.
Yeah, so, it like brought them closer together.
Yeah, and that's potentially what could happen here. You might see the same thing happen here. You could see them come into Memorial Stadium and just blow our doors off because they're pissed off their coach is suspended.
Yeah, but still, I think they've kind of, I don't know. We'll see if they still have that kind of unity with Sherrod Moore that they had with Harbaugh.
Yeah, it's a big if.
Yep. Agreed. I wonder who's the interim head coach for that game.
It's going to be that guy from Charlotte that was their O-line coach or something. Then he left to take Charlotte. I would bet that it's him because at least he has some experience.
I cannot remember the name for the life of me. 1,000-yard running back, but all-purpose yards, running catch. He may have more receiving yards than run yards. Dude is a dude, but who knows? I think UNL has an opportunity to be surprised, and be sneaky great. Agree, MD. Riley will have 100 yards rushing. Anyone taking bets on the season? I could see that.
500 on the under.
I mean, I could see that, but I don't think it's likely.
He had like -80 last year. You have to account for sack yardage because in college, sack yardage goes off rush total.
Listen, let's not be predicting sacks. Okay,
you're right. We have a stone wall up front.
Why are teams going out for out of the country players that we don't know the game? We don't have enough quality players in America to go around. We went overseas. It's just for some other teams. I think it's just a matter of you got to keep. I mean, you got to be ahead of the game, and you got to be able to look at these guys over there. I mean, look at the NBA. Europeans in the NBA, look how quickly they came over and took over. It's a growing game.
The country is from Europe.
Yes, it's a growing game, and you got to at least take a look at these guys and give them an opportunity because there's some serious athletes, serious talent over there for sure. And at the end of the day, too, you can get them for a lot less money.
I was going to mention that. And that's probably one thing, too, is they're probably familiar with the American game, but they're probably not familiar with, like, the weight of a Nebraska offer versus, say, Georgia. In some cases, some of them, like Valdon Stone, who's living here now, probably is well more aware. But a guy in Germany is just trying to advance his education and advance football. Like, so he may just look for the best situation truly as opposed to the biggest name.
Agreed. Let's see. It is Holgerson we're talking about. Screens and dumps work better. That's what we'll do. They'll do. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of mixing it up, but there's going to be a lot of check down options available, which we didn't have a lot of last year. Heard he's 300 plus. I think this is about Hufkin. So he's 300 plus. That'd be fantastic. I heard he's closer to 300.
Yeah, he's huge.
Massive dude. A lot of these guys come to the States now for high school, more at line skill position. Who was that came over from, was it Kahana Torres? That came over to play 1 year of high school ball from,
talking about last year's recruiting class?
Yes.
Brian Tapu came from New Zealand.
Tapu, New Zealand. Yep. That's who it was. So, and he, was very, very raw, but a 3-star prospect nonetheless. So that's saying a lot. That's how I'm seeing Pitt Snipe. Watched a lot of Holgerson. I live in Oklahoma. I heard OU press takes him very seriously. Yeah, and I did a lot of breakdowns. So I'm one of the few channels. Well, I'm the only channel that really has access to the all 22 footage. So I'll be able to break down all 22 footage for every single game. Like I got our games, I got our opponents' games. So yeah, you'll be getting all 22 breakdowns of the offense and stuff like that too. When I go a lot more in detail, and I'm going to be breaking down a little bit this offseason, kind of what the differences between Holgerson's offense versus Satterfield's offense, break those down in detail so you can kind of see a lot of what we're going to expect this year. Maybe, I'll toss in some of the wrinkles that will be added there because I've watched a lot of the Houston film as well. So
it's going to be fun.
Hofkin came to camp. Yeah, it was a camp out in Texas, I believe.
Houston Christian, actually, ironically, I think.
It was because I remember UTEP was out there. Scotty Walden did that interview as well. So, yeah, it was out in Texas. We're in Oklahoma. Let's see. Why doesn't Texas fall in the Gulf? Because Oklahoma sucks. Honestly, American kids are getting smaller. There really are fewer big boys with athletic skill. Agreed. Yeah, it's a speed game. It's transitioned a lot more of a speed game. Mm-hmm. Then the run goes. If a deep pass hits and it's Holgerson's game, big football mind. Should be a lot of fun watching Dayton and Trey fight it out for a couple of years. I don't know.
I don't
Trey's
think
good.
that's gonna happen.
Trey's good. Very good. I'm so hungry to see our Huskers chuck it downfield and finally have a few wide receivers that can go get it. 56-14. Huskers not even going to be close.
Let's go.
Last time Holgerson played against Cincinnati in the conference championship game was not pretty. I don't expect them back down. They go, oh, it's a completely different team though too.
Different
and it's good that he experienced against them. I say 55-14, get 2 field goals. Moret Waterman OV videos. Did you check those out, Brian?
I saw it right before I hopped on to pregame the show with you. So, I mean, they're pretty cool. Yeah.
I'll check it out. Less guys because they won't show everything. Chug, sit starters and eat wins. Eat the dub, Jameis Winston style. You remember that video? We'll eat this W. Bro, Jameis is funny.
Random shit.
Somebody I saw a post the other day that said Jameis Winston has the fun kind of CTE.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that too. That's fun.
Fan base is at a minimum a quarter pool to Nebraska. USC is a monster recruiting class. USC is, yeah, they do. They're going to be
developed for shit.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there. Must have warmed himself out of the splash pad. Just keep him alive. Let's see. This season will come down to 2 things. Can you win the games you're supposed to and beat 2 of Michigan, Penn State,
Cameron,
USC, Michigan?
100% right, Cameron.
Yeah, and to Cameron's point, I talked about this last year. It's like, you know, whenever we talk about record predictions, it's also a matter of when the wins come versus the losses. Like, I'd rather finish the season strong, you know, than come out and again start good and then just kind of have a, you know, limp down the stretch type of situation. USC can't be taken lightly. Yeah, we never take them lightly. I don't know if Riley has poop in the ground yet. Many signs say yes. We're not surprised in B-bits. They got to get that quarterback situation figured out because they had a really good quarterback in Miller Moss last year, and they could not seem to get him, you know, developed. And Miller Moss had a lot of arm talent. So I can dial in for a few. Yep. Them days are over, bro. The Huskers are back. Sit back on. USC is loaded and Riley can coach. Yes, I agree. Let's see. I don't know if their defense is going to carry Minnesota anyways. Who shut down recruitment? It's oh my gosh. Why am I drawing a blank? Hayden Ainsworth. Sorry. And he's announcing his commitment on Monday, which we crystal ball for Nebraska naturally. Pit Snipe, come on now. Let's see. Do you think we see Michigan rotating QBs all this season? I think they want to get away from that. I think last season was kind of an eye-opening experience for them, realizing that they kind of got to figure out one way or the other. But they end up in a situation like last year. I think it might be one of those things where they, you know, if they start the season with Bryce Underwood, they let it ride. I think the alternate scenario where they would do that is if they start with somebody else, and if he struggles, switch to Underwood and let it ride for the rest of the season. But I think if you do start Underwood, you've got to just let him roll and get that experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Holgerson's scheme is made to confuse. Spreading the ball makes the defense make adjustments. They can't sit and be in the zone, get players out of position. Yeah, it's to spread the field wide and make them cover the field horizontally. And then that way you open up more windows because, again, they got more grass to cover. That also gets the lineman splits widened out. So you'll see wider splits a lot of times in an air raid offense. That opens up those running lanes for the running backs a lot more. And then you bring those guys down by kind of peppering those underneath shots, and then that sets up the deep ball and vice versa. So it's just a matter of kind of moving the defense where you want them, getting in position to execute those plays that you have set up. Left the stream, had an emergency, so I will wait. Sorry, I hope everything's good, Boneled. Biggest improvement this year will come because the confidence, the loser attitude is gone. I'm betting we have really good run blocking this year. I'd have to agree with that. I think the offense makes it a lot easier on the offensive line because we're getting the ball out of Arilo's hands a lot quicker. Personally, I think Dylan stays. Yes, NIL talks, but I honestly believe he loves it here and he wants to be the one to help turn this corner. Agreed. Watch from the beginning now. That Pit Snipe dude cracks me up. He's a funny dude. Funny dude.
He's a jokester.
We aren't losing Dylan. Nope. My big question mark is the D-line, but again, I think the secondary and scheme will let those athletes make hits, if not plays. We're going to be very downhill. Very downhill. Yep. I want UNL to teach opponent players not to play. Hit. Yep. We might not get as many big recruits if we don't get 9 wins, but we won't lose Dylan if we don't get 9 wins. We won't. Yeah, exactly. I can agree with that.
Unless he bombed and went like 5 and 7, then maybe.
Yeah.
But
Dylan isn't going anywhere. Agreed. Now, had Sat continued to be the OC, he would. I
think so.
That's a high likelihood.
Portal talk.
That's a high likelihood. I'd like to see 1,000 plus from Emmett and Ja'Cory. 9-3 record in my opinion, but could easily be 10-2 or 7-5. That's fair. I think 7-5 is probably not likely, but yeah, it's that's a disaster I don't want to think about. But that is kind of, we got to have that floor prediction in there as well. So I think that's a fair floor prediction. 9-3. Notice fumbles way down last season. Feel the same way. I'm late on this one, but where the hell did Brian come from? He's been here a while now, but I ain't sure. Yes. So Brian, I found his channel, talked to him a little bit. I think I invited you on, and then I decided to go ahead and bring him on the channel to help me out because honestly, he's probably the best content creator that I found out there that I wanted to bring on. So yeah, it kind of fit my style of video. So I've been looking for somebody since I came onto the channel, took over. So yeah, it just happened to work out. He had just started a channel, so we brought him over here. So yep.
I developed a pretty big following on Twitter just for posting stuff, and it's funny because I went to school for radio broadcasting with the goal of being the eventual Greg Sharp, which I decided not to chase that path eventually. But one night, probably in like November, my wife and I were laying in bed, and she was like, "You just need to chase your dream. Like, if this is really what you're happy about, this is what you love doing, then just do it." And so January 1st rolled around. She got me all this equipment and got a new PC and all this shit. And then I was like, all right, we're launching. And then my channel, I mean, it only had like 52 followers, but like that was in like a span of like 2 or 3 weeks. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think the first video we did was actually about Cheyenne of Pete.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the first live.
And then I kind of started bringing you on a couple times, and then I was just like, hey, you want to join the channel? And so, yeah, it kind of worked out perfectly. It's probably the most knowledgeable recruiting guy outside of kind of like the guys who just do that for a living on YouTube. So he doesn't just go to message boards and post nonsense and hope it hits every now and then.
I can't screenshot my DMs, but they're pretty full of recruits.
Yeah. Let's see. Nice yard, Dave. The birds agree that we grew him in the lab with the others. A test tube, Brian. I love it. What type of punishment do you think Moore gets from the NCAA? Who knows at this point? I've done trying to predict that. I feel like the NCAA is going to hit him with a like light little punishment to potentially save themselves getting a countersuit. Honestly, they're getting sued enough. It's a problem living on the golf course, not the golf balls, but the birds constantly flying into our windows. I had a cardinal in Texas that was flying in my window for like 2 years. Like every morning, he would just be in this little tree outside my window. He'd just smash into it, fall down, get back on the tree, smash into it again. It was the dumbest bird I ever seen in my life.
It's probably more birds, actually.
So the all 22 copyright stuff. So that was just, I don't know what happened, but that was just one video in particular. They didn't get a lot of my other ones. And it was funny because I did a Dasan McCullough, Texas versus Oklahoma press box, all 22. ESPN copyrighted it, and they copyrighted 13 seconds of it, made me remove it, or else they would have put a strike on my channel, would have demonetized it, even though it was not an ESPN broadcast and covered by fair use, which means if we had commentary over it, which I did, that it's allowed to be utilized, even if it was ESPN footage. So yeah, I'm going to continue to do that and just see. And if I have any issues with that, I may re-upload the video as like a members only type of thing. So, and see how that goes. But yeah, we'll still be working through the all 22 stuff. I'll find a way. Interesting for comparison, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Are they back to back? Are they back to back on Michigan's schedule?
No, I think it's Oklahoma, and then they play some directional school, then Nebraska. I believe. Yeah. I think it goes directional school, Oklahoma, directional school, Nebraska.
Gotcha. Brian's good. I don't know. I missed his content before. Well, it's kind of buried by the algorithm. That's the hard part when you first start. You just get buried in that algorithm. I don't tweet her. That's how I missed him. Does the Big Ten win the championship again this season? I'd say
Penn State and Oregon are your favorites.
Very likely. Only 77 days till the start of the 2025 Nebraska season. What's up, Jackson? Appreciate you hopping in here, Jackson. Jackson is always doing a great job over there on the Alabama channel. Running to a double date. Catch the rest of the stream in the AM. Great job per usual. Appreciate you the other day. Thank you so much for showing us your awesome backyard, making us jealous. Why is there all this talk about losing DR? His family's at Nebraska. He's the guy. I don't think money's the goal right now for him. He's setting the program up. I agree. I just think it's I think people are just kind of in this modern transfer portal area. It's just like we feel like we got to start winning soon to keep our guys. And so I understand the anxiety behind it for sure. And the scare this offseason with that idiot that works for, who was it? Was that On 3?
Pete Nakos. Was it Pete Nakos that started that?
I can't remember. I messaged him and asked him.
Somebody that said that he was transferring to Miami or something like that.
That's what yeah.
It's also June 12th. Like, there's not a whole lot going on right now. So
On 3 is a joke. Let's be honest. Dylan leaving his clickbait. That's why I don't think it's real. Yeah, it was that talk a while back, but he shut that down pretty quickly. Send date stud mojo to Dave, folks. Yeah, good luck on your double date, Dave. Be safe out there. Have a good time. And that'll do it for us here. Pretty good show overall, man. We got some good calls in. Great chat interaction tonight. If you haven't liked the stream, go ahead and drop a like on it, Brian, and stick around for our outro. We're going to play that video again, just in case y'all haven't seen it. Actually, let's go ahead and run it. Let's go ahead and run it one more time.
Yeah.
There it is.
That thing is so freaking dope.
I love it. I love it, dude. But
I gotta give a shout out to Gabe Williams on Twitter. He helped make graphics for my prior YouTube channel, and he helped make that that video. So I want to give him a shout out as well.
Yeah, big thank you to him for that. Did great stuff with that. So appreciate Brian for coordinating that. But again, great show. Appreciate all of y'all. Y'all stay tuned for the videos coming up. Also, Tuesday, we got our live stream as usual at 6 p.m. Central. Next Thursday, we're going to have the Husker Gutter Call-In Show yet again. And as we kind of get more news throughout this offseason, it's going to be a lot of fun. So things are kind of starting to pick up again. So recruiting's picking up. Everything's picking back up. So we got a lot of stuff coming up for y'all. So appreciate everybody again. Brian, do you want to go ahead and sign us off?
I can do that. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we will preview your official visitors for this weekend. We'll see y'all then. Go Big Red.